looks like a very simple question, which is the 2015. So 2015, question 1, past paper. So this question 1, if I was in an exam, let me tell you what it would be, what would it take to get full marks on this. So someone going on this exam, the question says, write down in mathematical form the 5 mechanical properties of OLS. So you're only required the mathematical forms of this, okay? So sum epsilon I hat, I going from 1 to n is equal to 0. That's 1. Sum of epsilon I hat times xi is equal to 0. That's the second one. Sum of epsilon I hat times yi hat is also equal to 0. That's another one. Let me actually try and squeeze things a little bit because I want to show you common mistakes. Another one is y bar equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat times xi. And the final one is that the sum of y bar or y bar is equal to y hat bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All written in mathematical forms. I get 5 marks out of 5. I'm done. It sounds very easy, okay? But there's a lot of common pitfalls that I see students doing all the time. So what I will try and do is highlight the things that you're gonna maybe make mistakes on. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna write common mistakes. So these things would be common mistakes. So a lot of the time, people would write things like this, for example. Epsilon I is equal to 0. That's wrong, because an epsilon with a hat and an epsilon without a hat are two very different animals. I've prepared a video for this. You can look at that. But it's very important that you understand those differences. Okay? So this is a common mistake. So epsilon I is very, very different from epsilon I hat. So if you forget the hat, it's not a small mistake. You will get a 0 out of that particular question. Okay? So here's another common mistake. Another common mistake is to do this. What problems do you see with that? It's a constant. It doesn't change with I, right? So you have missed, in this particular case, you have missed the I. So don't forget the I. What's another common mistake that happens here? Well, sometimes I see this. Right? That's also a mistake. Okay, what happens into here? Well, similar mistakes. So here are similar. Forgetting the hat. Forgetting the hat. Forgetting any of the I's would be a mistake, okay? What about here? Again, make a guess. Forgetting the hats. Putting a bar instead of a hat. So, forgetting hats. Putting a bar instead of hat in the Y. Okay? Forgetting the I's. Right? Those are the common mistakes that you see here. Okay? What about here? Again, forgetting the hats. If you don't have hats there, you're talking about beta truths. But you don't know beta truths. So you need the hats there. Okay? Oh, what mistake have I done then? There I've done a mistake. Can you see a mistake? Yeah, it's x bar, not xi. So this was a mistake to start off with, right? I would not have gotten full marks on this. I would have gotten 4 out of 5. This should be x bar. Okay, so what's a common mistake? Well, if your teacher does it, other people might do it as well, right? Confusing xi with x bar. Forgetting the hats. Forgetting hats. Is forgetting with double T or single T? Double T or single T? Two T's. Thank you. Okay. Those are the common mistakes that people make. Okay. Same things here, right? Forgetting the hats, putting in extra hats, maybe confusing it with eyes. Confusing with eyes. But here's a simple exercise where you can get very close to or all marks, or you can lose marks for very silly mistakes. For things that would look almost similar, you could get 0 on every single one of them. Okay? So precision is going to be important. Question.
So when you do this notation for the symbol, if you don't put in n and or I equals 1, would you get penalized for that?
Probably not. Probably not, because the default is generally going to be that any summation that doesn't have any i's or n's will be I from 1 to n. But sure, if you want to be really picky about this, make them specific, right? So actually, that's a good point. Like, let's be picky about it, right? Because it's an exam. You want to make sure that you're getting those full marks. Let's write them. Let's make it a practice to write those I from 1 to n. If I'm grading those exams, and probably if Jordy's grading those exams, chances are you're not going to get penalized from not putting the i's and the n's. But that's a good question. So here's a very simple question that can be made very simple. You can get full marks, or you can lose a lot of marks.